Morning folks, John here. Now this is going to be a bit of an unusual video because I'll be covering a car that I no longer own, and in fact haven't owned the car for well over a year. So why am I doing a video about a car that I don't own anymore? Well, the answer is because I bought this car. It was a BMW 118 diesel coupe, and I bought it as an experiment 3 years ago to see whether or not I could buy a car for half the price of the current most popular car at that time, which was the Ford Focus, buy it for less than half the price of that Ford Focus, and then run it to see just how economical it would be to have a car like that, as opposed to doing what the majority of the country here in the UK was doing, and that was buying a Ford Focus, brand new or about a year old. So that's what I did, and I documented buying that car and did a couple of updates while I had it. And keep in mind that at that time I was a very high mileage driver, so I was doing at least 20,000 miles a year, if not more. Now the thing is, I didn't actually film a conclusion to the ownership of that car for the simple reason that I didn't think anyone was really interested. However, when I looked back through the stats and saw that over 32,000 people had viewed it, and not only that, I still get the odd message saying what happened to the little BMW, that I thought I would dig out the footage that I filmed when I actually finished the ownership of that car and sold it. So without any further ado, here's the concluding video of the ownership of that car, which was filmed over a year and a half ago. And then once we've seen that, at the end of this video, we'll do a quick comparison to see how much it actually cost me per month compared to a PCP payment done in the same way. On this wonderful spring morning in April. It's a beautiful day. The reason I'm doing this video is this is something of a finale video for my BMW 1 Series. I will try and put some links to the original time when I bought this car. I've had it for over 2 years, 25 months to be precise. So I wanted to do an experiment to see if it was possible to buy a reasonably cheap car and do very high miles in it and still have no problems. So I went for this BMW 1 Series because I've got a lot of faith in the BMW brand. I've had loads of BMWs in the past, and this car was an extremely good buy. I bought it from a car supermarket, one owner from new at 5 years old, which is quite unusual, and I have racked it up to over 85,500 miles. Most of it, I admit, being on motorways, going up and down, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm on a motorway now, and it is now time to trade the car in. Now I have to say, it has been an absolutely brilliant car, this. I can say that it's had absolutely no breakdowns, no faults. It's just worked beautifully for the last 2 and a bit years, and the only thing I've had to do with this car is service it. Other than I did have to put 2 new front tyres on it, but that's wear and tear. When you're up to 85,500 miles, you do need to change the tyres. So 2 new tyres, a couple of services basically on the car. As regards the servicing, I've always taken it to an official BMW dealer, which I realise are going to charge me more. But the reason I've always taken it to a BMW dealer is because when it comes to trading in or selling the car, having that official dealer service history makes it a lot easier to sell or trade in.
And not only that, it's not that much more expensive when you're looking at something like a 1 Series to actually go to an official dealer, not in my experience. And the official BMW dealer, Rybrook BMW, who have looked after this car, have been superb as well. Their dealership has been excellent, really friendly staff, very helpful, and the average price of the service of this car is around £230. That's typically what I've had to pay for the services I've had. And in all fairness, I think I've only serviced it twice in the time that I've had it, because the service indicator has only told me to service it twice. So it's been an absolutely brilliant car. The things that I wish I'd have had on it in terms of features that are missing from it are now on the modern version of these cars as standard. Things like a cup holder, Bluetooth telephone connectivity, reversing or parking sensors. They're all missing from this car, but if you buy the modern version of the 1 Series, they're all on there, they're a standard. It would have been nice to have had a sat-nav on it as well, but you know, I've got a clip-in sat-nav device which is perfectly okay. The question is, why am I now trading it in? Well, the reason is that we're now on 85,500 miles, and we're at a point where, unfortunately, here in the UK, mileage on cars is a very sensitive subject, and cars really start to depreciate fast once you get to the real high mileages. And given the mileage I've been doing on this car, it is highly likely that within the next few months I will have clocked up 100,000 miles on this car. Now, that's not a problem from my point of view of my confidence in it. I think it could do well over 100,000 miles and still continue. However, when it comes to the depreciation on the car, the amount I could get back for it when I come to trade it in is going to absolutely plummet if I let it go to 100,000. I've experienced this before. So I'm going to trade it in simply because I can get more for it now than I would do if I hold it on for another literally 2 or 3 months and take it up to 100,000 miles. So I've taken the opportunity to trade it in while I'm going to get quite good value for it, or a good trade-in price for it, before it literally falls through the floor in price. And that's the only reason why I'm selling it. I'm not saying that all BMW 1 Series will be as reliable and as cheap to run as mine. I can't say that that's going to be the case. I can only talk in the example of my car, my experience. But I would definitely recommend the BMW 1 Series as a daily driver. Absolutely. It's been an absolutely fantastic car, as you can tell from what I'm telling you. I would always recommend, if possible, getting the cars serviced by a mainline dealer, for the reasons I've just explained, that when it comes to selling one of these cars or trading it in, it's much easier. So at the end of this video, I'm going to do a quick calculation to show you how much per month this car has cost me had I have done it on a PCP. 85,555. So there you go, 85,555 miles in this little BMW 1 Series, which has been absolutely brilliant. Time to hand in the documentation, take my Starbucks cup out, and hand the car back. So there it is, ready to go back. 85,555 miles on the clock. Goodbye BMW 1 Series.
So let's finish off with a quick calculation to see how much the equivalent PCP payments would have been on that car had I done it on a PCP instead of buying it for cash and selling it for cash, which is what I did do. Now keep in mind that a PCP is basically a loan that dealers offer you to cover the amount that the car will depreciate by during the time that you own it. If you want to know a bit more about PCPs and how they work, I did do a little video on that, and I'll try and put a link to that in this video. In order to work out the equivalent PCP payments on that car, we first take the price that I bought it for. So the price that I paid for that car was £9,000. That includes having a cruise control fitted and having some paint protection put on it as well. I eventually sold the car for £5,100. So the total depreciation was one minus the other, £3,900. Now I own that car for 25 months. So we take the £3,900, divide that by 25, and that gives us an equivalent PCP payment of £156 a month. Now that to me is an incredible deal, especially when you factor in that I was doing over 20,000 miles a year, and mileage massively ups the price of a PCP under normal circumstances. I really can't see any franchise dealer being able to offer me that kind of monthly payment to cover all the depreciation doing that kind of mileage. So there you have it. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.